In a world that's constantly buzzing with notifications, opinions, and noise, it's easy to lose track of who you are. Every moment of your day is consumed by external influences, emails, social media, phone calls, people demanding your attention. You're so busy keeping up with the world that you barely have time to sit with your own thoughts. But here's the truth: the more you let the outside world dictate your focus, the further you drift from your true self. Silencing the world isn't just a metaphor, it's a necessity. Think about it. How often do you stop and really listen to what your heart is saying? When was the last time you made a decision based solely on what you wanted, not what someone else expected of you? The chaos around you can drown out the very voice you need to hear most your own. Every day you're bombarded with messages about who you should be, what you should achieve, how you should live. It's overwhelming, and it's no wonder so many people feel disconnected from themselves. But the answers you're searching for won't come from the outside world. They're already within you, waiting for you to pay attention. To silence the world, you have to create boundaries. You have to give yourself permission to step away. Turn off the notifications. Close the laptop. Say no to the invitations that don't serve your growth. This isn't about ignoring your responsibilities, it's about prioritizing your own well-being and clarity. When you start to remove the external distractions, something incredible happens. You begin to hear your own thoughts again. You start to notice what feels right and what doesn't. You become more attuned to your intuition, that inner compass that's been trying to guide you all along. Silencing the world is about creating space, not just physical space, but mental and emotional space. It's about carving out moments where you can breathe, reflect, and reconnect with your purpose. When you stop giving all your energy to the outside world, you can finally start investing it where it truly matters, in yourself. Your environment is one of the most powerful forces shaping your life, often without you even realizing it. The people you surround yourself with, the places you spend your time, and the energy you allow into your space all influence the decisions you make, the thoughts you entertain, and the habits you form. Yet, when was the last time you took a step back and truly examined the impact of these influences? Most of us go through life on autopilot, assuming that the people and circumstances around us are fixed, unchangeable. But that's far from the truth. Your environment is either lifting you higher or holding you back. It's never neutral. The challenge is recognizing which is which, and that requires you to pause, step back, and take a closer look. Reevaluating your environment isn't about blaming others or finding excuses for where you are in life. It's about becoming aware of the subtle forces at play. Who are the people in your life? Do they encourage your growth or do they drain your energy? Are they genuinely supportive or do they secretly undermine your progress? These questions are uncomfortable, but they're necessary. It's not just about people, though. It's about habits, routines, and the spaces you occupy. Does your environment inspire you or weigh you down? Think about your physical surroundings. Are they cluttered and chaotic, or do they promote clarity and focus? The state of your environment often reflects the state of your mind, and cleaning up one can help transform the other. Taking a step back allows you to see patterns you might have missed while you were caught up in the day-to-day. Maybe you've been holding on to relationships out of guilt or habit, even though they no longer serve you. Maybe you've been tolerating negativity or mediocrity because it feels easier than making a change. Whatever the case, stepping back gives you the perspective to make conscious choices instead of being a passive participant in your own life. Reevaluating your environment isn't always easy. It requires honesty, self-awareness, and the willingness to make changes that might feel uncomfortable. But every time you take inventory of what's around you, you give yourself the power to realign your surroundings with your goals and values. It's not about perfection, it's about progress, creating an environment that supports the person you're becoming. Disconnection is often misunderstood. People associate it with failure, weakness, or giving up. But in reality, choosing to disconnect is one of the most powerful decisions you can make. It's a declaration that you're no longer willing to stay tethered to what no longer serves you. It's not about running away, it's about stepping back to protect your energy, your focus, and your purpose. We live in a world where constant connection is glorified. Being reachable, available, and engaged at all times is seen as a measure of productivity and success. But the truth is, staying endlessly connected drains you. It scatters your attention, dilutes your energy, and keeps you tethered to the expectations and demands of others. If you're always plugged into everyone else's needs, how can you ever tune into your own? Disconnection is not a sign of defeat, it's a strategy. When you disconnect, you create space. Space to think clearly, to reflect deeply, and to realign with what truly matters to you. It's a pause button, not a stop sign. It's an intentional step away from the noise and chaos to regain control of your own narrative. There's a reason why some of the most successful people prioritize periods of disconnection. They understand that you can't operate at your best if you're constantly inundated with external input. Creativity, focus, and growth require time and solitude. By disconnecting, you allow your mind to reset, your energy to recharge, and your perspective to shift. Disconnection is also about boundaries. It's about recognizing when your time and energy are being consumed by things that don't align with your goals or values. It's about saying, I deserve better than this, and making choices that reflect your self-worth. It's not selfish, it's necessary. You can't pour into others if your own cup is empty, and you can't achieve your potential if you're weighed down by distractions and obligations that don't serve you. Stepping back doesn't mean you're giving up on people or goals, it means you're prioritizing yourself. It's an act of self-respect, a statement that your well-being and growth matter more than keeping up appearances or meeting every demand. When you disconnect, you're not retreating from life, you're positioning yourself for a comeback, stronger and more focused than ever. Disconnection challenges the fear of missing out, the fear of losing momentum, and the fear of what others might think. But the reality is, the time you spend disconnected is never wasted. It's an investment in clarity, in intention, and in the future you're building. It's not about escaping, it's about recalibrating so you can move forward with purpose and power. The greatest transformations happen in the dark, away from the spotlight when no one is watching. This is the part of the journey that most people don't talk about: the long nights, the quiet sacrifices, the relentless work that doesn't come with applause or recognition. It's unglamorous, often lonely, but it's where the foundation of greatness is laid. Building in the dark is about embracing the process, not the praise. It's about shifting your focus from seeking validation to creating something real, something lasting. When you work in silence, you're free from the expectations of others. There's no pressure to perform or impress, only the pure drive to improve, to learn, and to grow. In the dark, there are no shortcuts. There's just the grind, the unrelenting effort you put into your craft, your goals, and your vision. This is where resilience is forged. Every obstacle you face in this quiet space tests you, and every step forward strengthens your resolve. It's here in the shadows that you learn to rely on yourself, to trust your instincts, and to believe in your own potential. One of the greatest advantages of building in the dark is the freedom it gives you to experiment and fail. When no one is watching, you don't have to worry about judgment or criticism. You can take risks, make mistakes, and refine your approach without fear. Failure becomes a teacher, not a threat, and each misstep brings you closer to mastery. The dark is also a place of clarity. Without the distractions of the outside world, you can focus fully on your goals. You're not comparing yourself to others or measuring your progress against someone else's timeline. You're creating something uniquely yours, something that aligns with your values and vision. But building in the dark isn't easy. It requires discipline, patience, and faith. You have to keep going even when progress feels slow, even when it seems like no one notices or cares. You have to remind yourself that the work you're doing now will pay off later, even if the rewards aren't immediate. This phase isn't about instant gratification, it's about long-term success. It's about building something so solid, so unshakable, that it can withstand anything. The dark isn't a place of weakness, it's a place of preparation. It's where you hone your skills, develop your mindset, and create the foundation for a future that can't be taken away. When you build in the dark, you're not hiding, you're preparing. You're laying the groundwork for something extraordinary, something the world isn't ready for yet. The effort you put in now, unseen and uncelebrated, will become the cornerstone of everything you achieve later. Transformation is not a comfortable process. It demands change, and with change comes a necessary separation from the familiar. You can't become who you're meant to be while clinging to who you used to be. To evolve, you must be willing to let go of habits, people, environments, and even versions of yourself that no longer align with where you're going. Separation is not a rejection of your past. It's an acknowledgement that growth requires distance. You can't grow in the same environment that kept you small. You can't rise while surrounded by influences that hold you back. To transform, you must create space to redefine your identity, to nurture your vision, and to build a life that reflects the person you're becoming. The process begins with self-awareness. You start to notice patterns, relationships, and routines that no longer serve you. These might have been comfortable once, even necessary, but now they feel limiting. It's not that they're inherently bad, they've simply run their course. Recognizing this isn't easy. It can feel like you're walking away from security, from people you care about, or from a version of life you worked hard to build. But holding on to those things out of fear or nostalgia only delays your transformation. Separation is often misunderstood. People see it as abandonment or betrayal, but in reality, it's an act of courage. It takes strength to step away from what's familiar, especially when there's no guarantee of what lies ahead. But the truth is, the life you desire is on the other side of that leap. Transformation requires you to trust the process, to believe that the space you create by letting go will be filled with something better. This separation isn't just external, it's deeply internal. You have to separate from your old thought patterns, your limiting beliefs, and the stories you've told yourself about what you're capable of. Transformation requires you to challenge those narratives, to rewrite them in a way that aligns with your new vision. This can be one of the hardest parts of the journey because it means confronting your own fears and doubts. Separation can be lonely. When you step away from what's familiar, you might feel isolated at first. People may not understand your choices. They might question your decisions or try to pull you back into the life you're leaving behind. This is why it's so important to stay connected to your why, the reason you're transforming in the first place. Your vision for a better life, a better you, must be stronger than the pull of the past. The beauty of separation is that it creates clarity. As you step away from the noise, you begin to see yourself and your path more clearly. The distractions fade, and what truly matters comes into focus. This is where transformation begins to take root, not in the external changes, but in the internal shifts that come from creating space for growth. Separation doesn't happen all at once. It's a gradual process, a series of decisions to choose your future over your past, to prioritize your growth over your comfort. It's a journey of unlearning, of releasing what no longer fits, and of making room for what's yet to come. Transformation is not a straight line, it's a process of shedding and rebuilding, of stepping away and stepping away and stepping into something greater. When you commit to transformation, there's a moment that awaits you, a moment when you step back into the world and it doesn't recognize you. Not because you physically disappeared, but because you've changed so profoundly that you no longer fit the mold others once placed you in. This is the power of true transformation. When you reemerge, the person they remember is gone, replaced by someone sharper, stronger, and unstoppable. Reemerging unrecognizable isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you are always capable of more. The work you do in the shadows, the sacrifices you make, the discipline you develop, they all come together to create a version of you that's unshakable. It's not just about external changes, it's about the shift in your energy, your confidence, and the way you carry yourself. This new version of you doesn't seek approval or validation. You've spent time in the dark, away from the noise, learning to trust yourself. You've shed the insecurities that once held you back, the self-doubt that made you question your worth. Now, when you walk into a room, people will feel the difference before you even speak. It's not arrogance, it's the quiet strength that comes from knowing who you are. Reemerging unrecognizable means redefining what's possible. The people who knew you before may struggle to accept your growth. They'll try to box you into their old understanding of who you were, but you no longer fit. This isn't a reflection of you, it's a reflection of their inability to see beyond the past. Your job isn't to make them comfortable, it's to keep moving forward, to let your transformation speak for itself. This process isn't just about surprising others, it's about surprising yourself. The journey of transformation is full of moments where you'll question if it's worth it, if the sacrifices are too great, if you're capable of achieving what you set out to do. But when you re-emerge, you'll look back and realize that every struggle, every setback, every moment of doubt was a step toward this version of you. Your re-emergence will feel like a rebirth. It's not that you've changed into someone else, it's that you've stripped away everything that wasn't truly you. The layers of fear, of expectation, of societal conditioning, they're gone. What's left is your essence, pure, focused, and unapologetically authentic. This new version of you doesn't chase opportunities, they're drawn to you. Your presence alone commands attention because it's infused with purpose and intention. People won't just notice the external changes, they'll sense the internal transformation. They'll see someone who has done the work, someone who refuses to settle, someone who has stepped fully into their power. Reemerging unrecognizable isn't the end of the journey, it's the beginning of a new chapter. It's a reminder that transformation isn't just about achieving goals, it's about becoming the kind of person who can create, sustain, and expand upon those goals. This is the essence of growth, the constant evolution, the willingness to redefine yourself, and the courage to step into the world as someone entirely new.